I want to ask this to Prof. Izhar. So, Prof, most of the time we see our anatomy lecturer involves in teaching, but we also wonder what are the things that they do. So maybe Prof can explain us what does anatomy lecturer do, and maybe you can share a little bit on what's a day of anatomy lecturer like. Okay, please, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. The first question, what does an anatomy lecturer do? Okay, right. Um, Anatomy lecturer, yeah, we are under the what we call as the basic science department. Yeah? So the job description or what we do, yeah, for our daily work is different from the clinician. Yeah, from the clinician, like in BPSP, we have the clinical departments and the basic science departments, and we have the laboratory based department. Okay, right. So for anatomy lecturer, yeah, okay, I just explained in general firstly, yeah, the what the lecturers do. If you work in any university, right? So number one, of course, is teaching. Number one is teaching. Right? So the teaching involves either undergraduate students. Undergraduate students include not only the medical students, but also like dental students. If we are invited or we are required to teach dental students, or sometimes we can also be asked to involve in teaching of the allied health undergraduate program, yeah, like nursing, biomedical science, yeah. So that depends. Yeah? Depends on the university and the requirement. So number one is teaching, yeah? And then number two, apart from teaching, we also have to involve in research. We have to do research, because we are working in a university. So research in any field, in any topics of interest, research areas, and from research, then we are required to publish papers, yeah, in journals, yeah, like write a manuscript, publish articles in the journals. All right, so that's number three. And then apart from that, we are also involved in administrative work. Administrative work. Like myself, I'm holding the position as the phase one chairperson. Yes. And there are a lot of like posts, yeah, whether the lecturer can become the the coordinator of the ISO, the quality, or maybe like Dr. Siti, the head of department, yeah? Then like the coordinator of any courses, yeah, like all of you have all the GMT courses, yeah. So they are lecturers who are responsible for each course, yeah. And then apart from that, we are also involved in any like, well, this one depends, yeah, like community work. Yeah, we are also required to be involved in community work. For example, we can involve the schools, yeah, the primary school or secondary schools, where we can get students to come to the museum, or we have programs with the teachers or the schools, yeah. So okay, mind you, yeah, all of these, yeah, they carry certain like weightage, yeah? Oh yeah, one more thing is the supervision of students, yeah, where we have to supervise um, postgraduate students. Like in anatomy, we offer our Master of Science in Clinical Anatomy. So we supervise postgraduate students at the master level, or we also involved in supervision of postgraduate students at PhD level. Yeah, all right. So all of these, yeah, they carry certain weightage. Yeah, like this depends, yeah, on the department or the university. Yeah, how you decide the weightage. Yeah, how many percentage for the teaching, yeah, for the research and publication, for the administrative work, yeah, for the supervision of student. Yeah, so those are all the like work or the job description of what lecturers. Yeah, so particularly in anatomy, of course, teaching in anatomy, yeah, in the field of anatomy. Yeah, so but for the other jobs or job description, I think it's common to all lecturers if you are working in a public university like USM. Okay, so that's for the answer for the first question. Would you like me to answer for the second question, or will that be answered by Dr. Siti?
Uh, it's okay, Prof. You can proceed with
Proceed.
next.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What's a day in your life like? A day in my life. Well, that it varies. You know, it varies. It depends. Sometimes there is assignment comes in that you have to you know finish it by a certain deadline that you have to complete that task. That depends. But of course, like it involves like all the roles like what I have described earlier. Yeah, if you have class, you teach. Yeah? And then you have to arrange time, yeah, for your research and to write manuscript for the publication. Yeah? And then you have to spend time for the administration work. Like myself, right now I'm busy preparing the timetable and for the preparation for the semester examination for phase one. That will be in April, for example. Yeah, and then at the same time, uh, you know, I have to spend time with the postgraduate students. I am supervising master students, so I have to discuss with the student, yeah, from time to time, yeah, having online meeting to discuss research, laboratory work, yeah. Okay. And then it varies. Yeah, it varies. So in my diary, yeah, it's not like a routine work, the same kind of work every day. Yeah, it varies a lot. Right? Okay. So that's my answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Zul. So we have clear that anatomy lecturer does not only involve in teaching, but they also involve in like research, publishing journals, administrative work, and also supervision of students. Okay, so now we will move on to question to Dr. Siti. I'm sorry. Okay, so the next question to Dr. Siti. Doctor, anatomy is a broad field, a very broad field, right? So, can you share with us what are the difference of areas of expertise in anatomy, and maybe you can share with us how it different with the clinical specialists, please, Doctor.
Okay, interesting question. Okay, so in anatomy, there are actually wide arrays of expertise or area or field. Okay, the first one, of course, I think you all know is gross anatomy. It is about the study of the human body, the morphological features of human body. And in terms of this one, usually if you master in gross anatomy, most of the time you can become a lecturer. And biology, this include about histology, expert in cell culture, okay, genetics, histology. So there are many sub under cell biology. Third is neuroanatomy. Okay, this is something brain and central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Okay. Other than that is clinical anatomy. Okay, clinical anatomy can be either radiological anatomy, surgical anatomy, procedural anatomy. Okay. If you are a clinical anatomist, usually your research is something related, have collaboration with okay. That is osteology. Osteology is a bit interesting because I think so far we do not have osteology, local osteology in Malaysia. Okay, and osteologists usually this is about study about the bone. Okay, bone, and for osteology, if you are expert in osteology, you can become forensic osteologists, anthropologists, archaeologists. Okay, you can work with that in that field as well. I think in Malaysia we don't have that so far. Okay, in Southeast Asia, we have one in Thailand. Okay, osteologists. And for embryology, okay, embryology is about developmental anatomy. We also don't have embryologists, local embryologists. You also have comparative. This is about studies of different species and not only human, but you are also expert in anatomy of the animals. And the last one is my area, which is anatomy education. So anatomy education is about improving the anatomy education system, improving the curriculum, the teaching methodology, assessment. Okay, so something to do with something related to medical education. So our aim is to improve the anatomy education system. So these are among the areas of expertise in anatomy. So if you take anatomy as your future career, actually there are a lot of choice. Okay, not only to become a lecturer, you can become scientist, you can become forensic osteologist, you can become you can work in medical education. Okay, so there are so many career pathway. Okay, you just need to dig out. And then in terms of the lifestyle, okay, how is it different with the clinical specialist? We work during office hour. That is the main difference. Okay, we work during office hour. We do not run clinics. We do not go for ward rounds, and we do not have night shift. Okay, so in other words, we have our weekends and night with the family, but only with the family, not necessarily for the family. Because why? Because sometimes we have to bring back our unfinished tasks. Okay, sometimes it is impossible to complete everything during office hour. But as I am, for me, usually I plan my time so that even though I have to bring back the task to do it at home, I will do it only after my kids already asleep. Okay, or I woke up early in the morning to do that task. In terms of the job scope, compared to the clinician, actually we actually doing the same thing, except that they treat patient and we don't. But mind you that we are all medical lecturers. Most of us are medical lecturers. We have our APCs. Okay, we also, so meaning that our license is still valid. And in fact, some of us are still practicing, even after office hour. Okay, some of us did locum. Okay, treat patients somewhere. But I chose not to do it. That is my choice. So it's up to you whether you want to continue your clinical work. So it's up to you. But make sure you have a valid APC. That's all. In terms of task execution, in between anatomy and clinical specialists, we teach in a classroom setting, but of course, a clinician, they teach in work-based environment. And like Prof Zul mentioned just now, we have quite big spectrum of students, not only medical student, dental student. We also teach like health sciences students, master student from different background, So we have to plan our teaching so that it can cater for the appropriate group. But for clinician, they only receive students that are posted to their departments, right? So it's very specific to their area. So we have to be very quick-witted as well. We have to know how to actually teach according to our target group, So that is in terms of the task execution. Lifestyle, I think we cannot put a blanket rule to everyone in terms of lifestyle. It's up to you to choose. Okay, if you enjoy your life, I think doesn't matter. If you could be a clinician but you know how to enjoy your life, so your lifestyle can be same what as me. So I think that one, it depends on individual. But what I can say, we have our weekend and night with the family. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti. So this is like an eye-opening session because we know what are the job options related to anatomy. It's not only anatomy lecturer because Dr. Siti mentioned they also can be scientists, forensic, medical education, and also take part in locum. So I love the keyword by Dr. Siti, which is time management and enjoy yourself. So that's the lifestyle mentioned by Dr. Siti. Okay, now we're moving on to the next question. So going back to Prof. Zul. So for example, Prof, the audience here or me want to become an anatomy lecturer. So what are the pathways? Maybe you can mention about the program that should be taken, how long does it take, and then what are the requirements, when and how to apply, and also what should we prepare in order to be an anatomy lecturer. Okay, please, Prof.
Okay. This is not one question. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. Okay. Right. The pathways. Okay. Right. If you start with your qualification as MBBS or MD holder, any medical degree, it's either like MBBS or MD, or maybe if you graduate from Egypt, it's MBCH, some MBCHB or something, yeah. Or if you hold a degree in dentistry, yeah, well, you can proceed to become an anatomy lecturer. Yeah, I think there are like two several pathways. So from medical degree or dental degree, yeah, I strongly advise that from any degree basically, yeah, Bachelor of Science or anything, yeah, you should proceed with master program in anatomy. Master in anatomy. For example, in USM, we offer Master of Science Clinical Anatomy. 2 years program. That is a master's program. Yeah. Why I strongly suggest for you to take up this program, because by doing this, you can polish up your anatomy knowledge. Yeah, your anatomy knowledge. Because in order for you to become a lecturer in anatomy, you have to master the very detailed or in-depth knowledge of anatomy. What you have learned during your undergraduate, either in dental school or medical school, the objective or the learning outcome is suitable for undergraduate level. Yeah, for postgraduate level, it is of a higher, like level of knowledge. So that's what I strongly suggest. But of course, if you hold an MBBS or MD, you can bypass that pathway. You don't need to undergo master program. Yeah, you can just proceed to PhD. Yeah, to PhD. This is like in the past, Malaysian government or JPA, they offer scholarships to students to go to overseas, to further their study. So we have examples of lecturers, from medical degree or dental degree, they just proceed with PhD, and they have the scholarship to the PhD in overseas. All right. So there are two, like a short pathway and a long pathway. Okay. And then the 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 pathway depends, yeah, whether you want to become an anatomy lecturer under any public university IPTA that offers programs that requires lectures in anatomy, or you want to become an anatomy lecturer in the private university or IPTS. Yeah? Because if you go under a public university, you can join as a trainee lecturer. Yeah, you can apply to become a trainee lecturer under that public university. I'm not sure about the private university. I don't think that they have a traineeship post in a private university. Okay, so if you go under the public university, you have to apply under the trainee lecturer post, and then after you are successful to become a trainee lecturer under that university, then you will be given scholarship and the time off for your study, to further your study, as and under the master program or PhD program. Okay, right. So for master program, that runs for 2 years. Usually master program is 2 years. Master program. Like for myself, I obtained Master of Philosophy. Master in Philosophy, which I did or obtained from University of Queensland. It is not a master program in anatomy. The program that I took is a full-time research, 2 years research program. So like myself, I have to polish up my anatomy knowledge during that 2 years when I was doing full-time research, when I was doing my master, and then once I become appointed as a lecturer in USM, well, I have to learn all the anatomy all by myself. So it's quite tough. It's quite tough because I did not go under the specific master in anatomy program. It was 2 years of full-time research. But anyway, because I really like anatomy, I find it very easy. Alhamdulillah. Okay. All right. So that's one pathway. You take register in a master program 2 years, or you can bypass that master program and straight do your PhD. Okay. If you register for PhD, PhD it's minimum is a 3 years program. 3 years program. Whether it is a local in any local program in any university in Malaysia or overseas, right? Okay, but my advice, another advice is that for medical students or dental students, I advise that you proceed with your housemanship or internship. Complete your housemanship until you obtain your full registration with MMC. Because it is going to be, just a waste. You have a scroll in medical degree, medical scroll, but you cannot practice. So all the lecturers in anatomy department now, we all have, I think we all have completed our housemanship, and we all are, fully registered, and we have our APC, annual practicing certificate, renewed yearly. So we can still practice, and we can still practice, right? So it is a waste if you do not proceed with your housemanship and obtain your full registration. Who knows? Maybe in future you you find that suddenly I hate anatomy, so I want to turn back to clinical. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So so that is another important advice. Yeah. All right. And all right. Next. Okay. If you after you complete, let's say you proceed with housemanship, and then for 2 years, and then you manage to get your full registration, yeah, and then that is another, like, another pathway, whether you want to work under public university or private university, yeah. If you have uh, a very, strong financial support, that you can uh, use your own money, yeah, to proceed with the master program, the PhD program, yeah, you can, just quit from the hospital kementerian, yeah, the government hospital. You can just, uh, take your time, maybe 2 years of master program, and then proceed with the PhD, and then you are not bound, yeah, to the government or to any university, yeah, so that you can work as a lecturer in IPTA, or you can apply to become a lecturer in a public university. Yeah. So right now the condition is, the requirement. Yeah, the requirement is that all anatomy lecturers, we should have a PhD. PhD. Yeah, I think in private university as well. Yeah, PhD is a must if you want to become a lecturer. Yeah. So like myself, I only, obtain my MPhil master. Because at that time there was no like a requirement, by the university that to become a lecturer, it is a must for the lecturers to have to hold a PhD. Yeah, but now PhD is a must. So if you want to become a lecturer, uh, just aim so that even after you complete the master program, you have to plan ahead for PhD. Yeah, for PhD. Okay, all right. If you join as a trainee lecturer under a public university, your pathway is a little bit easier, because your position as a lecturer is secured, because you are a trainee lecturer. All you have to do is firstly complete your master programs, and then continue with the PhD program, and then you will be appointed as a lecturer, and that is in the public university. But to work in a private university, I think they don't have a trainee lecturer post. That's why you will need to obtain your master and PhD, yeah, whether it is a self-sponsored or whatever lah. Yeah, all right. And then when and how to apply. When and how to apply. Um, the post as a lecturer, yeah, in the university, it depends. There is no specific time when the post is offered. Yeah, usually it depends on the university itself. Yeah, if they have any vacancy for the post of a lecturer in the anatomy department, for example, they will open up the application. Yeah, and how to apply? You directly contact the university. Yeah, but I think the best way, like in any university, you just browse in the website of any university and try to find, maybe the head of department of anatomy, yeah, maybe the head of the faculty, yeah, in which the anatomy lecturer is under. So like in USM or PPHD, you can go to the website of School of Medical Sciences, and you'll find the Department of Anatomy. Yeah, so um, I advise that you directly communicate with the head of the department or head of the faculty. Yeah, because you never know, yeah, when and whether or not there is any vacancy, for the position of as a lecturer, anatomy lecturer in the department. Okay, and what should they prepare? What should they prepare? Well, if you have PhD, okay, no problem, inshallah. I think that's the most important requirement now. PhD, I think that's the most important requirement. The experience, I think, well, maybe in not so much with experience lah. Maybe a little bit of experience during your master or during your PhD. Maybe you are involved in teaching of students, in practicals, as a tutor. Yeah, that should be enough. Yeah, but the main requirement is PhD. Yeah, in any university. That's what I for now. Okay, so I think that's my answer for the question.
Thank you, Prof, for answering each and every of the question listed there. So, so the important message for all graduate undergraduate is please complete the housemanship first and get the full MMC registration. So it is a take home message for us, and then you will find several pathways like Prof mentioned. There is for master, PhD, and also some pathways for trainee lecturer as well. So, okay, thank you, Prof. So now we're moving on to Dr. Siti Nurma. Dr. Siti, people say that experience is the best teacher. So throughout your experience, what is the most challenging aspect, or maybe you have any eventful memories during your practice? And then maybe a part of that, we're also excited to know what is the most rewarding aspect or any satisfaction throughout your career. So, please, Doctor.
Okay. All right. Most challenging aspect. I would say there are many challenging aspects, not only one. But okay, let me put like a timeline. So when I was a trainee lecturer, like what Prof Zul mentioned just now, I'm an alumni of Master of Science Clinical Anatomy. So meaning that we actually underwent 2 semester of coursework and also research work. So within the 2 years, we have to pass the gross anatomy, neuroanatomy, embryology, histology, comparative anatomy, biostatistic, and then we have to do research. Just 2 semesters. That was the most challenging, I would say. The starting point of my career is actually the program that I entered is quite tough. I would say that the program in MSc Clinical Anatomy is high quality because it's very tough to pass, to pass the MSc Clinical Anatomy, because we are mixed mode. We learn everything again, not only superficial but very in depth, So if we pass that one, so I would say that if that we have quite a strong knowledge in anatomy, okay. But during that time, very challenging, very challenging. I have to juggle with the family life. I have 1 babies at that time, 1 baby, okay. And then I got pregnant also during my study time. I underwent appendicectomy. Okay, Prof Zul know my journey. Okay, so many things happened during my study. So it was a very memorable moment. Okay, but alhamdulillah, I managed to pass within time, graduate on time. But when I become an anatomy lecturer, I would say that my career is very smooth, because of that training. That training really molded me to become a lecturer. So I can, in terms of knowledge-wise, I know as a newly graduated lecturer, I was so naive. Okay, there's so many things that I don't know yet, but I'm learning. Okay, I'm learning along the way. From the students' feedback, you all know I made typo, right? In my slide, there was always typo error, okay? But the students know already. So I learned from feedback from the student, feedback from the seniors. So I would say that my journey is quite smooth as a junior lecturer and senior lecturer. But now I'm the head of department. I'm given by the higher authority to actually groom young talents in anatomy. So I would say that is a bit challenging for me, okay, because to groom myself, I can control myself, but to groom young talent, okay, so I have to think a way on how to groom them to become, not only to become a good lecturer, but also a good researcher, okay, because you know the current situation right now, we have to publish, right? We have to do research, we have to go to do PhD. During my time, it's okay not to do PhD yet, but this time all junior lecturers have to go for PhD. So I have to encourage them, okay, encourage them to pursue their study. And in terms of the most rewarding aspect, okay, like just now Rakinah introduced me that I received lots of award lah apa lah tu kan, but I think that is not a rewarding aspect to me, because the most rewarding moment is when I receive appreciation from my students. Okay, when they say, "Oh, doctor, now I understand. Oh, thank you so much, doctor. You enlighten my day." Oh, that is actually, you make me smile until I sleep. You know, the whole day I will be smiling when I got that kind of appreciation. You know, I received quite a number of awards, but that feeling will never be the same. Okay, when my student appreciate my teaching. I think that's all for rewarding aspect.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti. So I think most of the lecturer in anatomy is my favorite lecturer, because they will teach us until we understand about the things, and they always ease us compared to reading books. So that is the most how to say, the most important one lah, I think, for lecturer in anatomy. So Dr. Siti also proved us that pressure really makes diamond, because of all the pressure that Dr. Siti has during during her training as a trainee lecturer. But now look how Dr. Siti now. Okay, now we're moving on to the next question to Prof Zul. Okay, Prof Zul. So like we always mention, we see that all anatomy lecturers are very cool, diligent, and optimist to make sure that all the students understand what they teach. So maybe to become an anatomy lecturer, what are the best personality types that a person must have? Or can you share what are the qualities for a person in order to become an anatomy lecturer?
Okay. Two questions there. Best personality types and qualities. Okay. All right. I think to answer these questions, I think the students know better, because like I myself, yeah, I don't know what are the personalities that I have that the student perceive as as a best quality or best personality type as an anatomy lecturer. Yeah, so I think the students know better the answer. Yeah, but for me lah, yeah, I think what anatomy lecturer should, the qualities or personality types is okay. Number one, their interests. Yeah, their interests or passions. Yeah, passions in the teaching anatomy. Yeah, in anatomy. Right. So because if you do not like anatomy, yeah, you cannot appreciate what knowledge that you are going to learn during your master's and during your PhD. Yeah, so you have to fall in love in anatomy. That's number one. Yeah? Otherwise, well, if you let's say that, for example, if you like physiology, but the only position that the university offer is a position as an anatomy lecturer. Yeah? So if you choose to become an anatomy lecturer, I don't think that will work because your passion is physiology. Yeah? So that's number one. Yeah? You must love anatomy. That's number one. And then with that, um, you will be able to appreciate your life or career as a lecturer. Yeah, whenever you teach the student, whenever you do your work every day, and that you must be also very hardworking, hardworking, and well, that's in term of teaching and learning, yeah. But also you have to have other qualities to be hardworking in other other aspect of a lecturer, not just as an anatomy lecturer person. And or other qualities or personality, I think you must be, I don't know, very patient to student as well. That's another thing. Because sometimes students, they ask a lot of questions. Yeah, you have to have the quality of to be able to explain in a very simple way so that students can understand anatomy, right? And that you must be also and approachable, approachable. So whenever the students would like to ask questions, so they can contact you, in any uh, using any modes of like nowadays we have WhatsApp, so you can easily ask questions to lecturers. Yeah? What are other personalities or qualities? I think that's all that I can think of, but I think the students know better, in terms of personality and qualities. What qualities that we have. All right, okay, that's my answer for that question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. So, Prof has highlighted us some of four of the important qualities to be an anatomy lecturer, which is first, we have to be interested in the things that we study, and then appreciate our work, have patience towards the students, and also be an approachable lecturer. Okay. Now, we moving on to Dr. Siti Nurma. So, I would like to ask a question that which is more towards your personal life. Okay, doctor. So, as a senior lecturer, as a head department of anatomy, and then at the same time you are a mother, a wife, and also yeah, we call that as a domestic engineer at home. So how do you maintain your work-life balance? Okay, that is the first one. The second one, maybe if you don't mind, can you share how well are anatomy lecturers compensated?
Okay, maintain work-life balance. I hope that I really maintain my work-life balance. Uh, but the keyword is actually time management. Time management is very important. Okay, time management is. I prioritize my work. Okay, I usually prioritize my tasks. I will only do. I will do first the urgent and also important tasks. Okay, when I come to office early in the morning, what I do is the first thing is I will jot down my schedule for today. I have a daily and also weekly schedule, monthly also, but daily is a bit detailed lah, what I'm going to do around 9 to 10, 10 to 11 and so on and so forth. So I will try my best to complete every task during office hour, and if I can, sometimes I have to stay back a bit, 1 hour or 1.5 hours to complete this task because I don't want to bring that home. And if I have to bring this task home, usually I will ensure that my children, they are all asleep. Okay, so that I will spend time with them also, so that they won't feel that their mother is not a workaholic lah. But I have to, we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice our time. We have to, I have to wake up early sometimes because there are deadline to fulfill. But during weekend, at least I will do 1 or 2 activities with my family. Okay, like gardening, like cooking together, baking, or we go out having fun together. Okay, makan luar dan sebagainya. And I will also ensure that in 1 month I will have my me time, meaning that I will take 1 day off. 1 day off. This is for me only. So meaning the kids are go to the school. Okay, they all go to the school. And if my husband take leave on the same day, we will go dating. Okay, but if it is not on leave, so what I'll do, I will rejuvenate myself. Okay, perempuan, right? We go to spa. Just we need that. Okay, we need that to make our how to say, our mind and our physical balance. Okay, balance. So and one more thing is I'm blessed to have a very supportive husband. Okay, very supportive husband who is also working together with me in PPSP, and he knows the nature of my job. Okay, so we both are busy. So we actually make like how to say, perjanjian lah. Okay, so every day we have to go for lunch date together. Doesn't matter, in the cafe also can. So during that time we chit chat a lot, venting a lot, especially what happened in the morning. If I'm very stressed, I will vent a lot to him. He will be a very good listener. And so and actually that is also applicable for him also. I'm also a good listener to him. So I think this kind of thing is actually helping me to move forward. And as a Muslim, what we always do together is we always solat berjemaah together. Even in USM also, I went to my husband's room and we solat jemaah together. I think this actually create a very healthy work-life balance to me and my family as well. And usually my kids, they are also, they all are already they understand my nature of job ni. So usually we make them understand. We explain to them, okay, today we're going to do this. So please can you give me about 2 hours? Okay, after that I will compensate again. Okay, I will play with you, or okay, so just get that support system. Okay, just get the support system. So I don't know whether this is considered a balanced work life. I'm not sure, but so far I'm happy with it. All right, for the second question, how well are anatomy lecturers compensated? And if you are referring to the salary, are you referring to the salary? If you are referring to the salary, to me, I think quite okay, provided that you don't live a luxurious lifestyle lah. Meaning that you don't, if you are not lavish, okay, you can be lavish once in a while, but not lavish all the time. Okay, if you don't live this luxury lifestyle, your salary is quite okay. So let me give an example. Basic salary, if after you have complete your postgraduate degree, then you become a junior lecturer. Usually we will start with DU 51. Okay, DU 51 is the is the grade for junior lecturer. Usually the starting basic salary is up to I think about 4 to 5K. That is basic salary depending on your seniority. For example, if you have worked in KKM for more than 5 years, so when you enter USM as anatomy lecturer, your basic will be a bit higher compared to those who only have 2 years experience in KKM. Okay, that is basic. Okay, so basic around 4 to 5K. And when you add the allowance, it can go up to 6 to 7K or 8K depending on your seniority. Again, it's depend on your seniority. That is for junior lecturer. But along the way, okay, the annual increase for D51 is about 250. So you can calculate. So about 4 years, there's additional 1,000K. But usually you'll get promoted. If you are active, okay, you'll get promoted very fast. and for after 12 years, because anatomy is considered as not how to say, it's not considered under NSR as specialist. NSR means National Specialist Registry. I think so. So we are not considered as clinical specialists. So our time-based promotion is after 12 years of service, meaning that when you, after your housemanship, okay, 12 years after your housemanship, then you can get promoted to 54, DU 54. So DU 54 is considered senior lecturer. Okay, senior lecturer. Oh, mind you, this DU is for those who have APC. Okay, APC, meaning if you want to get DU 51, you have to complete your housemanship and MO. Okay, if you do not have a valid APC, so your grade is just DS, University Lecturer, and there are very lot difference, okay, different between these two schemes. Okay, for DS you do not have this allowance galakkan klinikal, allowance pensyarah perubatan. Okay, so in terms of allowance, there is a big gap there between DS 51 and DU 51. DU means pensyarah perubatan, DS means pensyarah university. So for pensyarah perubatan DU, we actually followed the KKM, the promotion, the time-based promotion actually follows the KKM time-based promotion. But since we are not considered as clinical specialists, we have to wait until 12 years to get the senior lecturer post, okay, which is DU 54. Compared to our friend in clinical, in KKM or clinical specialists, who are clinical specialists, they just need to wait for 9 years to get promoted to DU 54. Okay, but I think it's okay, okay, because why, again I said we have our weekend and night shift, right? They don't have, right? They have to sacrifice their weekend, their night shift for on call and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's okay lah, right? So but after 12 years, salary is quite, I would say very high, okay, because when you reach 12 years, your salary is already 5 figures lah, 5 figures. It can be go up to 12k to 20k. Okay, 20k including allowance, including allowance. The basic usually around minimum 7 to 11k, that is basic. But including allowance, then yang junior sikit is maybe 12k, yang senior sikit maybe until 18k, 19k. Okay, that is the salary, but there's a but there. Our salary, our allowance, most of our allowance are taxable. We have to pay back to LHDN, meaning that 19% to 24% of our salary goes to LHDN tax. You can calculate lah how much we actually pay for the tax. And compared to our clinical colleagues, their allowance are not taxable. So they just pay tax around 700 ringgit, 900 ringgit, despite their salary 25k, 30k, they only pay around that figure, okay? But we are paying more. We are usually, like, if you reach 15k, 16k salary, you have to pay around 2,000 plus, 3,000 plus per year. So that's one, I would say, kalau tengok gaji, itu je lah kekurangan. Okay, but doesn't matter. I love my life. I think I'm compensated well in terms of salary so far. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I think that's all from me.
Thank you so much. There are so many tips by Dr. Siti for the work-life balance. Doctor has mentioned about time management, sacrifice, and then find a good life partner. So that is a important message to all participants here. Find a partner that understanding to the nature of your work, and then can be your good listener. And then find the courage to through prayers. And then about the salary, I don't know how to comment about it. Maybe different people have different conclusion about that. But for me, working as in an office hour with no on calls, it is a bonus already. Now we move on to the next question. We have 3 more questions left. Okay. So this question I would like to ask to both of our lecturer because maybe both of them has different opinions on it. For Doctor and Prof information, once we open the registration link, there are many participants requested to ask about what is the what is the tips, what is the strategies, what is the advice on how to master in anatomy. So we received many questions about that. So maybe we can start with Professor first on how on what is your advice or tips on mastering anatomy. Please, Prof.
Advice, strategy, and tips on mastering anatomy. Well, okay, thank you very much. Okay, right. uh, all right. My advice, yeah, is that whenever you listen to any anatomy lectures, you you try to understand. Huh? Do not try to memorize the facts yet. The first thing to do, and whenever you listen to anatomy lecture given by the lecturers, you listen and understand. And then if you do not understand, you ask questions straight away, or immediately after the lectures or sometime after the lecture when you revise the lecture notes. Understanding, that is the most important thing. And then the memorization comes later. If you can understand, it is going to be very easy for you to memorize. That comes later. All right. And then number two, I think you have to use your what we call as uh, visual memory, or photographic memory, photographic memory. You have to look at diagrams or atlas of anatomy, or illustrations for you to understand. Because anatomy is a study about the structure. Structure. You cannot memorize, like paragraphs describing about the structure. You have to be able to, see, and then you can imagine that structure again in your mind. Later, the best thing is by looking at pictures or diagrams, so that you have that photographic memory. Always have diagrams at the side. Whenever you read a lecture notes, when you do revision, make sure you have diagrams or atlas on the side so that you can refer to diagrams. It helps you a lot in understanding and memorizing the facts. Okay, and then the third thing I think is to repeated by repetition lah. I mean, you have to read again and again and again. It's not just a one time of reading, and then you close your book and then that's it. You have to read again and again. Whenever you come across that facts or knowledge which are related to your previous, knowledge. Let's say like right now you are learning about the nervous system, but it described about the innovation of a structure that you have learned in the past, about the muscles, the autonomic nervous system, any smooth muscles or any other structures. So you go back to the previous knowledge, so you revise again. In that way, you can see the whole picture of the structure of human being. Because now, like what you learn is according to the nervous system, musculoskeletal system. It is compartmentalized. So in the end, by the time you finish your second year, for the second year students, I hope that you can put all the bits and pieces that you have learned throughout the 2 years so that you can see the whole system of a human body. So I think that's the my advice, or the tips on how to master in anatomy. Okay, right.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, so how about Dr. Siti? What are your strategies in order to have master in anatomy?
Well, I think Prof Zul has mentioned most of most of it, but maybe one more, I would say, fast track tips. Okay, fast track tips is to teach others. Teach others. Teaching others makes you more, how to say, more clever. I would say clever, like, in terms of the knowledge. It's like it will start there in your mind forever if you teach wrongly. So that wrong info also will start in your mind, in your long-term memory. So make sure you discuss a lot with your friends. Okay, and I also agree. Repetition. You cannot study anatomy just by at one go, just like that. You have to revisit. Okay, meaning that when you enter the clinical years, you have to go back, look back in your anatomy books, and correlate it with your clinical applied knowledge. Okay, and perhaps if tips, one more tips, always attend class lah. Please make sure that you attend all class, because the keberkatan, lecturer, they prepare their class, they spend sometimes 1 week to prepare for your class, but it's very heartbroken to see only 20 or 30, 50 just join the class, so we don't know, okay, the lecturers don't know who did not join the class, right? But it's like, they feel very, usually the lecturer will feel very sad, disheartened to the whole batch, so the keberkatan is not there. So make sure you attend class. Okay, I think that's all. And hard work, work smart, not hard work, work smart. Okay, you have to really find time on how to study anatomy. Yeah, that's all. I think, because most of it Prof Zul already mentioned. So I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof Zul and Dr. Siti. So if I can list a few points that both our Prof and Doctor mentioned. The first one is try to understand before you want to memorize it. Then ask questions straight away if you doesn't understand. Use photographic memory such as diagrams. Always repeat readings, and Dr. Siti mentioned additional one, the fast track is to teach others and do discussion, and then always attend class to get the keberkatan and also work smart. Okay, I think that is the most awaited answer for our participants today. Okay, now we have two more questions. Okay, just a quick one. Okay, next. I would like to ask Dr. Siti lah. Okay, looking into the future on this field, what is your opinion on virtual learning apps such as Complete Anatomy?
Okay, looking at our current situation right now, the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, this Complete Anatomy helps a lot. Especially when we cannot conduct practical session. So at least, even though you cannot, the students cannot do hands-on activity, but at least with these apps, you can actually stimulate your 3D imagination. Okay, you can play around with the apps. But somehow, my personal opinion, this kind of app still cannot cater for your skill-based learning. So when you come back later, okay, once, inshallah, the COVID-19 will subside soon after the vaccination program. So please come to our anatomy museum and please do this hands-on session. If you want additional class, you can actually request it from us, even though you're already in third year. So I think the keyword there is the revisit. So even though you are in clinical years, come back to us and then for the practical session, okay? But in terms of complete anatomy, it can be as a supplementary teaching tool. It helps you to understand anatomy, but again, the skill part is lacking there. That's my opinion in terms of virtual apps. Okay, but complete anatomy is very good.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Now, the last question to Prof. Zul. So, Prof, back then, many institutions use cadavers to learn anatomy. So, what is your opinion on teaching anatomy using human cadavers?
All right. Okay. Since I have the background of learning anatomy using cadavers, for me, cadaveric dissection is gold standard. Gold standard. Yeah. I think you can ask your friends in USM KLE. Yeah, I think just last week, Prof. KG shared some photograph of the students in USM KLE. During their dissection class over there. Yeah, because when you have the cadaver in front of you, yeah, we have all the the not only the cognitive, the affective, you appreciate, yeah, the body is in front of you, and then you have to use your skills, yeah, your vision, your touch, perception, everything. All the your senses are working, and you can really appreciate, yeah, when you cut layers by layers from the skin to the muscle to the bones. You identify all the nerves, the vessels. You can see the relations in front of you. Yeah, you can touch. Yeah, so that all that will really stay in your memory. Yeah, as like a long-term memory. Yeah? So that is for me like a really gold standard. But of course, like in Malaysia, yeah, we have the uh, problem of getting cadavers. Yeah, so I think we can plan anything about that. But yeah, um, that's my opinion. Yeah, human cadavers is really gold standard for learning anything. Okay, that's my answer. Hello.
I'm sorry, I didn't find the unmute button.
Okay.
So thank you, Prof. And Dr. Siti for answering all the questions that listed here today. So now we are moving on to our second session, which is the last session about the Q&A. Actually, we already received many questions in the Q&A box, and all of them are important. It's difficult for us to find which one is the best one, but but we have choose some of them. Okay, so I would like to ask Dr. Siti first. Okay, Doctor, there is one question. How to master? This is from Nur Atika USM. Okay, how to master histology? Because I think it's really difficult for me to differentiate each cell.
Okay, good question, Atika. Okay, well, as I always mention in my class, right, your eyes will only see what your brain knows. So to master histology, okay, before you look into the slide, you must know the microstructure, meaning the microstructure. Just if you cannot understand the photomicrograph, you have to find a sketch diagram. For example, like mast cell, how does it look like? Okay, by drawing. Okay, that is how I learned histology during my undergraduate and postgraduate time. You know, if I cannot imagine, imagine the structure in the slide, I always try to Google a sketch diagram. Okay, for example, how does smooth muscle looks like? The drawing. So when I get that picture in my mind, when I look at the histology slide, I can imagine. Okay, by right, smooth muscle should be spindle shape. Okay, we cannot see exactly spindle shape, right? But when we know that it's spindle shape, we can imagine the spindle shape, and it is there actually. We can imagine. Sometimes how to say, the cellular boundary is not clear, but you can delineate that because you know. And then that's number one. You must know the microstructure. How to do that is by looking at the sketch diagram. Okay, you have to be very rajin lah to look into the internet for the diagram. And if you have a certain textbook that use drawings, that's good enough. Secondly, is you must understand the features, the characteristic features. Okay, the basic for tissues, the characteristic features. When you know the characteristic features, you can apply it into the specific organ. Okay, meaning why is it basophilic? Why is it eosinophilic? Okay, that's important. Number three, please do not depend only on lectures. Okay, lectures, you have to read your books. Okay, in order to get that knowledge, okay, knowledge is very rich. If you only learn through one modality, so that's the only thing that you get, one modality. Although I understand from the lecture, doctor, I don't understand from the books. No, you have to find a way how to understand the info from the textbooks. Okay, use what you have learned in lecture to understand the description in the textbook. So never ever rely on one modality only for learning. You have to either you discuss or you find another resources, credible resources from internet, or the best is just look at the textbook. I know textbook is a bit difficult to understand, but if you have that prior knowledge from your lecture, it will be good. You'll do fine, inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Siti. Now,
I think that's just my tip on histology.
okay, it's clear. So next, Prof. Zul, there's a question from Nur Sadrina from USM. She asks, okay, how do you really find out that you do have that specialty of teaching to others? I repeat, how do you really find out that you do have that specialty of teaching to others?
How do you find out you have that specialty teaching to others?
Yes. Maybe
How do
she
you
find
find-
that it's difficult to teach others, but she wants to be a lecturer, maybe? I don't know.
Right. I think I don't know. How to answer this? You can start practicing like teaching others. Yeah, like we have PBL in phase one. Yeah? That is a very good platform for you to teach others. Yeah, actually the conduct of PBL, actually, like the second session of PBL, you just sort of like present from your PowerPoint and then that's all. Yeah? It we in your presentation, actually, as the facilitator, the lecturer, we know whether the student who are presenting understand or not. Yeah? Just from your way of presentation. And when you just read from the slides, well, we know you are reading, and when we ask question, still the presenter cannot ask, cannot explain what she was talking about. Yeah. So the specialty can develop during your study. Yeah, during your study. Yeah, when you are able, to explain to your colleagues, yeah, whether in PBL or in your discussion group, yeah, and then even like during your training as a housemanship or whatever, yeah, when you can explain things very clearly, yeah, to your friends, maybe to the consultants, to the seniors, yeah. So that is, I think, the indicator of how you know that you have that ability or the quality of as somebody who can teach. Uh, yep. And sometimes people tell you, well, I can really understand, very clearly what you tell us. So sometimes when the feedback from, the people who are listening to you tells you that they can understand what you are talking about. And so that is also another like indicator, telling you that you have that specialty of teaching others. That's what I think.
Thank you, Prof. Maybe the last question that we could take for Dr. Siti. Okay, so Dr. Siti, this is the question from Yun Hui from UM. So he asks, what are obstacles in conducting human anatomy research and how to overcome it?
Okay, there are actually many obstacles in conducting human anatomy research. Thank you, Yunhu, for the very interesting question. Okay, one thing is when you face with obstacle, okay, you must ask back again to yourself, what is your specialty? Okay, area of specialty. I think in for me, I do not have that real obstacle in conducting research because I have already have my specialty area. My area is anatomy education, so I know what to do. What are the gaps, okay, in the research gaps in my area, okay. But but in other area in anatomy, for example, like cell biology, right? Cell biology, when you have gross anatomy, clinical anatomy, you have to find solid research gap. Solid research gap. I mean, the real problem. Okay, real problem in order for you to do a meaningful research. I think that's the biggest obstacle. Because why? Because it seems like I don't know. It seems like it's already saturated in terms of if you are referring to the human anatomy per se. Okay, gross anatomy research, cell biology, histology research. Okay, it seems like this is based on my assumption only. It seems like it's already name saturated. So if the research say to find to get gap, you have to really dig into how to do this need analysis, okay, need analysis, the gap analysis, and something that you need to learn. Okay, this is something, a skill that you need to learn. Okay, it is not something that, oh, from my observation, I should do this. From my observation, this is the real problem, so I should do it. No, it is a very structured way on how to find a research gap. So that's the main obstacle. Secondly is, I think the if you are referring to the support, I think the financial support is a bit lacking because the grants only look for transdisciplinary research. Okay, transdisciplinary research, meaning that you cannot do research specifically on your area. You have to really integrate this with other specialty as well. For example, like me, I'm an anatomy educationist. I'm doing anatomy education research, but at the same time, I'm collaborating with the computer science. Okay, computer science to develop a software, for example, a 3D software. I also collaborate with engineering. Okay, to look at the to develop specific model material that can mimic the human body. So this is something that you have to be creative, and one more tips to encounter this obstacle is you have to have a good networking, very good networking, you know. So in order to get networking, you have to be visible. You have to be visible. So to be visible, you have to be good in research. So it's like a vicious cycle, you know. So it is not easy. Yeah, obstacle is the real problem in doing research. Okay, real problem. But get your foundation first. Meaning, like I said just now, number one, try to find something that you are expert in. what you're interested in, and then look for the research gap, and then look for opportunities. I mean funding and networking. Okay, I think this is something that I can think of. Perhaps there are many more, but this is what I encountered in my research career. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Siti and Prof. Zul, for answering all those questions. So, on behalf of our organizing committee, I'm very sorry, everyone, for because we cannot answer all those questions. But don't worry, because as Prof. Zul mentioned earlier, all anatomy lectures are approachable. So you can just ask them and to clarify any of your question. Okay? Don't be sad. Okay? Okay. So, I think we're almost reaching the end of our session today. But before we end, let's take a picture. So with that, we have come to an end. So I would like to say thank you very much to Prof. Zul Izhar and Dr. Siti for being here with us, sharing about your experience. And I think we are very blessed tonight because we have learned a lot. And hopefully this session is helpful for the future pathway that we are going to take later on. So a part of that, I also would like to say thank you to USM Medsoc for organizing such as informative webinar and inviting me as the moderator for tonight. You guys did a very great job. As a moderator, I'm very sorry for all the hiccups and also the flows during moderating the session. I'm very sorry for that. So I think that's all from us. Assalamualaikum, and hopefully everyone have a good rest and a good day. Thank you everyone. Bye.